Atlanta United Fan TV, AJ here. A very solemn result, but what a season! It's been an incredible ride and an incredible, everything they did top down was just, they just did it right. Just an unfortunate result today. Tanner, what did you think?
Man, that's tough, isn't it? That's one of the toughest sporting ways to lose, I think, is penalties, because it's just such a lottery, man. I mean, although to be fair, I was poor. I was poor on the penalties, but I mean, the guys, they gave it all. They looked absolutely knackered. I mean, that was just one of the most flukiest games I've ever seen. I mean, how it was 0-0 after 120 minutes. I mean, hitting the woodwork, both teams clearing it off the line, both keepers playing. I mean, their keeper had a worldie. That's probably the best game he's played in his life.
Saving so many long-range shots, countless. I don't even know how many, but it's just it makes me mad, really.
That was a tough way to go out. I mean, if we're setting a low bar for heartbreaking losses, I don't know if it can get too much worse than that. That was tough, but I mean, the lads played well. I think they did look really tired. I think the second half of the season, with how many fixtures they played, I mean, first half compared to the second half, it was, sometimes we wouldn't play a game for 3 weeks, and then we have boom, 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 game after game after game. Squad depth isn't something that's like, not a lot of teams have it. Toronto has it, which is why, they have a really good shot to win the whole thing. But, I mean, I think that we lacked some depth up front, I think, with guys coming on. I mean, you saw defenders, and then, Peterson come on, so that was tough. I mean,
missing some pieces, firepower off the bench. Was it a little bit of team choice today, or what do you?
I really like the lineup that he put out. I mean, I think one thing you definitely see is how much we really miss Garza going forward. I think McCann had a solid game, put in a good shift. I mean, he worked a lot. I think his biggest thing is a lot of the times you see him check back with the ball and pass it back inside or drop it, as opposed to Garza just bombs down the wing and attacks that fullback and pulls him out of position, which creates a lot of space.
To be fair to McCann, he had that one-touch volley cross that nearly.
Again, I mean, he really put in a shift. I thought he played really well. I just think, on the going forward, I think he used a little bit, but I thought he was just. I think he might have more balance when he's in the side. I have to say, one thing that really caught me off guard, as much as I love the guy, I think that was Martinez's worst performance in a United shirt. That was. I think he's had a really rough second half of the season, I think. And not second half, but like say the last month or so. I mean, I love the guy. I love his passion, but he's turned a bit of a tantrum when he's come off the pitch the last few games. And I get he's competitive and everything, but that was surprising. But I felt tonight, I don't know if he was tired, if he just wasn't there, but a lot of the time I felt like he was just stood between the two center backs or stood offside. I mean, probably got caught offside 3-4 times. And usually those chances where we cut it into the box and make a good play, and he's there to tap it in for, this little sliding goal. Right. He was off. It kept feeling like we were just a little bit off. Maybe, it's because that was Almiron's first time back in, and, maybe they lost, so 6 inches of chemistry, can really make a difference. But
was it one of those things where, us taking Joseph off, like, should we have kept him on for the penalty since it was so close? It was like within 7 minutes, I think, to the end of the extra time. I
mean, I don't. Tata's lost and known a whole lot of more football than I'll ever know, and he's forgotten it as well. It's just like, I don't want to second guess him. I mean, Joseph, in his defense, I thought Joseph was just off the pace the whole night. He just never. He had some good touches here and there, but I felt his positioning wasn't good. His work rate wasn't nearly as good as we've seen from him. I mean, usually he's going in at every single ball, and he just seemed a little bit off. I mean, you love his confidence, and I think he thought he would have scored from the penalty spot. But I mean, even from how the match went, I don't think Tata felt very confident. And I hope he doesn't take that, because take that to heart, because I really love him. I thought he had a great season. I mean, he definitely would have won Golden Boot if he had been fit the whole year. And I love our attacking players, and I hope we can keep them for another season, because I think that for a first season to play like that, they saw the passion, they saw what they got from the fans. They really appreciate it, I think. And, it's frustrating with how things ended, but, you have to take a lot of positives from it. I mean, still not good. Chicago's going to be the most successful team, expansion team, because they won the double in '98. But I mean,
Fewer teams back then too. It's a different landscape.
I don't think a team has come onto a sporting scene and just changed the game almost with how fan culture, attendance, atmosphere. I mean, we've done a lot of great things this year, and again, it's really frustrating to go out in the way we did. But
But lots of positives
absolutely.
for the city, for for the sport, and for the league. I think we've done really an incredible thing. I think boosted really so much that it's unprecedented.
Oh yeah, I would agree. I mean, I loved it. I mean, I'm so excited that this is something I get to share with people here. In Atlanta, who'd have ever thought we had something like this? I'm scared. I don't want people to have a a little bit of a second season lull where oh well, we saw it one time, it was cool and shiny then, and now we're going to move on to the next. I mean, if honestly, with how this team is, the future, we have so many young players, especially, I mean, Carlton's going to feature a lot more on that team next year. That's going to add a lot of depth and talent. We have other kids in the academy who played in the U17 World Cup. We have the talent there that's coming. Not many MLS teams are doing that.
Yeah, Gosson looks so good.
There's just so much talent already here that we have that we can bring up to that team. And I mean, that team is just, a little bit here or there, a couple pieces missing, I mean, some of those players will probably not be here next year. I mean, some of those older players especially. So, I mean, I'd like to see us keep that core together, that attacking core. They're really good, I think, another season. I don't see why we can't keep scoring goals the way we playing here. And I'm really excited about the future. It's just, I really thought that, we had a very poor run in. I mean, I thought that if we could have taken our form from those first 3, 4, 5 home games in the bins and replicated it at the end, I mean, no one could have stopped us. But I think you saw a bit of fatigue set in. I mean, we dropped a lot of points at the end. I mean, by all accounts, we really shouldn't have even been playing this game tonight. We should have been hosting a game next Sunday. But, we dropped points in games we shouldn't have dropped points. Dropping points to Minnesota at home. Even that tie with Orlando was tough. I mean, dropping points against Toronto, I mean, because they were there for the taking. It was good to hold on against, NYCFC, but there's a lot of opportunities that we really missed. I mean, losing 3 times to DC United this year. There's so many places you can look back, and it's just like, how did that team drop those points? And I think that's another thing that'll come with experience and playing together is that consistency. Because the one thing that's really frustrating for these players is they're not going to experience fixtures and scheduling like this anywhere else,
Sure.
because we run on a weird schedule.
The travel times
are so much more. It's so big. But again, all that will come with experience. Again, I'd like to see them stick together. I know that Uncle Arthur will want to keep things together.
Yeah.
I know he sees how much the fans love it.
Right.
I know that, I mean, we make up a quarter of all MLS merchandise. Everyone's buying it. We're in it. We're ready for it. Right. I mean, and next year you have LAFC coming in. We set the standard. They're going to have to live up to it. But I mean, I think the future is bright for not only Atlanta, but for the league. I mean, I really hope that we can put some pressure on the rest of the clubs to try to take it to this level.
Right.
But, I mean, I guess just in summation, tough night, rough way to go out. Right. But, I'm proud of the boys. They worked really hard. I mean, a lot of them were just running so hard, even at the end. They gave everything. And they know that we gave out for them, and getting tough, but, a lot of positive going forward.
Definitely. Well, I think we're ready for 2018.
I'm ready for it. 5 months can't come fast enough. Absolutely. I never would have guessed that when I moved to Atlanta and got a season ticket here that I'd be so heartbroken over watching my team lose. Yeah. But I mean, it's just I've grown on it so much through the season, and it's awesome to have that, and we have this, and we're gonna have a lot of good nights in that building. And I know that I don't see us slowing down. MLS can be unpredictable, but we're going to win a cup at some point. And it's going to come soon, and I feel it for sure.
Yeah.